When Claire turned towards the voice, her eyes widened in surprise. "Chelsea?" Claire happily yelled out and quickly went over to the table that Chelsea was sitting at. To top the surprise of encountering Chelsea, Claire also saw Hannah, who turned to look at Claire and was waving her hand. "Glad to know you aren't waiting in the lobby for me," Claire said to Hannah when she reached the table. "Sit, sit," Chelsea motioned to the person sitting next to her to grab a chair for Claire. As Claire checked out the others at the table, Chelsea and Hannah weren't the only people with a familiar face. Claire recognized two more people at the table. Chelsea grinned at seeing Claire's reaction. "I figured you'd recognize some of the people here," pointing at a woman with shoulder-length blonde hair. "You met Heather at the training building before you went missing that night." Chelsea's eyes looked at Heather before turning to Claire. Then Chelsea said, "Which leads us to another person. You recognize Celine, right?" She motioned at a woman with shoulder-length black hair. "You're the woman that night with the other MPs," Claire exclaimed, remembering the MPs inside the patrolling vehicle the night they entered the shelter. Celine laughed, "Glad to know you remembered me." She motioned to the woman next to Chelsea. "Emily is another MP that was patrolling that night in a different vehicle." Laughing, "She helped out a lot when we learned that the two of you had gone missing that night." Blushing, Claire said, "Sorry about that. We didn't mean to cause any problems for the fort." "Yeah," Hannah blushed as she nodded her head in agreement. "Leave the girl alone, Celine. If I were to stumble upon a place like this, I'd have gone missing too." Chelsea chastised her friend as she grinned. Turning to Claire, she said, "Just ignore them. They're just giving you a hard time." Sitting down at the chair grabbed by the woman named Emily, Claire felt better knowing that Hannah and she didn't cause too many issues. Nodding her head, Emily agreed. "Though the other MPs and I were worried when we heard that two girls went missing, now that I learned what this place looks like," her eyes were wide. Though Claire could sense that they wanted to ask how she and Hannah were able to get into the shelter, they were polite and didn't ask for an explanation. She appreciated not having to be forced to come up with a lie, not wanting to share what Raven had done for the two of them the night they scrambled to the fort. "I myself still don't completely understand what Raven did for us that night, though I do understand that we were able to enter shelters that are empty without needing to be invited or have permission. It'll be helpful when I go out into the world to look for Han," Claire thought to herself. As Claire sat at the table, she listened to them talking about various things, some of them connecting to their social life. Though there were comments related to their surprise and shock about what Star and Moon had built. "Can you believe that some of the guys had chosen to go with a sword?" Heather shook her head in disbelief. Hearing her words, Claire's ears perked up with how it sounded as though it were connected to the simulations. Chelsea groaned at the thought, dismissive of the image. "Have you talked to them yet?" Celine asked. Heather shook her head. "I heard about it from one of the other teams that happened to see it." "Well, you infantry people were never right in your head." Celine grinned at Heather. Emily giggled at Celine's comment. Scowling, Heather slowly nodded her head. "I see how it is." Her eyes looked at the other girls. "I guess I need to head over to where the other infantry people are, and not stick with you MPs." She stuck out her tongue. Chelsea, Celine, and Emily grinned at Heather's comment. Both Claire and Hannah froze from Heather's words, unsure of what was happening and confused by Chelsea's reaction.